Order, can I have a roll call, please, B?
Mr. Delaporte?
Here.
Mr. Lorenzini?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here. All right, first order of business tonight will be the acceptance of the minutes from June 28th, 2022. Not a whole heck of a lot to read there. Anybody have any questions or revisions?
No.
Objections? No? All right, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's so moved. Just make a note that John was not here, so he's not voting tonight. Okay, on the minutes. All right, next order of business tonight, discussion, appeal number 227758, area variance. Ron Garwal, hope I got that right, seeking an area variance, section 24037 of district regulations in an R80 zoning district, where 10 feet to the side yard property line is required. The applicant can provide 8.2 feet for the legalization of an existing 10-foot by 14-foot shed, thus requesting a variance of 1.8 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard right property line is required, the applicant can provide 15.2 feet for the legalization of a front bedroom addition, thus requesting a variance of 24.8 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard left property line is required, the applicant can provide 30 feet for the legalization of a front bedroom addition, thus requesting a variance of 10 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard right property line is required, the applicant can provide 25 feet for the legalization of a rear kitchen addition, thus requesting a variance of 15 feet. Where 40 feet to the side yard left property line is required, the applicant can provide 12 feet for the legalization of a rear kitchen addition, thus requesting a variance of 28 feet. Where 40 feet to the side right property line is required, the applicant can provide 27 feet for the legalization of a rear deck addition, thus requesting a variance of 13 feet. Where 40 feet to the side left property line is required, the applicant can provide 17 feet for the legalization of a rear deck addition, thus requesting a variance of 23 feet. The property is located at 12 Schlichter Road and is identified as tax grid number 61560298695 in the town of Wappinger. Is anybody here representing this application? Would you state your name and I don't know if address is appropriate or...
Sir, board members, my name is Nick Caesar.
Gotcha.
I am an engineer for Caesar Engineering. This is my partner, Nate.
Gotcha.
We're representing this action.
Good. So there's a whole lot going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And taking a look at the property, we can see why. Looking at the property line. Maybe just give us a little brief history on kind of what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting from the beginning, on the board here, if you guys can see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. This is a representation of a property survey that was conducted on the 11th of April in 2022, so a new property survey. Just a little overview of the property here. It's a very oddly shaped lot. It is 64,480 square feet, which is not as much as is required. As you can see, Nate, can you zoom in on the exact building site? So the building seems to just have been placed, way too close to both lots, but in addition, it's just, it doesn't meet any of the setback requirements as a result of these requests here. So a little bit about the summary. This particular building was built in 1947. It's not a new building. It's been there for a really long time. From my experience, I've seen situations like this where it's actually sometimes a survey issue when it was built. The current property owner purchased the property in 2003. We have two real important items that I would like to show you in conjunction with this, but this survey here, which I just provided, and you guys all should have that in your documents, is a new property survey. And we also have provided you an old property survey that the current property owner got from the previous owner. As I mentioned before, from a timeline perspective, the current owner purchased the property in 2003, so they've owned it for almost 20 years. And this old survey is from the 1990s.
Right.
So, as a piece of evidence to suggest that all of these establishments and the building itself were present since the 1990s and were most likely present way before that. Obviously, we don't know exactly the timeline from the 1990s prior to that. So that's kind of a little general overview. Every single item that we're requesting a variance on in here was present before the current property owner purchased it in 2003. I completely understand that the property owner is required to due diligence and has now assumed responsibility for all actions, positive or negative, but, you know, this is just quite a difficult situation. And, you know, if it was like one variance on the left side or something like that, I think it would be a different discussion, but like the variance on the right side of the building really just provides context as to this just seems to be a folly at the beginning of construction, which is just to suggest that there's a 1.8 foot provided variance, like, you know what I mean? It's obviously just, I think, you know, between either when it was started till now, seems to have been either a surveying issue or something to that effect. But just in general, you know, the reason for this appeal, obviously, some of these items were put without a permit in addition, so that's an additional action. You know, we've inspected the property several times. We're gonna work with the building department specifically on those things, bringing sections that either are or not up to code, so that those can be, you know, safe and habitable. We've walked inside the building. The building's actually quite nice on the inside. It's been refinished. But, you know, just from a zoning perspective, you know, will the character of the neighborhood or nearby properties change? I would suggest no. The house has been here for 20 years. I can't imagine that granting these variances would result in any of the adjacent properties having a significant change to character. Explain why you need the variances is, you know, are these self-created? I guess the fact of the matter is, yes, these are self-created, not by the current property owner, probably by the original builder and or subsequent property owners. And, you know, how big is the change of standards from the zoning law? Clearly, some of these variances we're requesting are substantial. They're substantial with a caveat, which is there's clearly a bunch of issues with this particular lot. And I think the property owner is doing the right thing, trying to get this squared away. You know, I hope you take that into consideration. Other than that, I'll open it up for questions. We have some photos and I'll show you on Google Maps.
Like you said, this last survey, the older survey is from the 1990s.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have anything that predates this, would we?
Probably not. Our files, when you go back, are very slim. But it does show that since the 90s, they've put on quite a few additions.
Looks
Okay,
like.
so the only addition that was put on since the 90s was a rear deck.
I tend to disagree. On the old one, where it says electric meter on the new one, it says concrete area, and that was built out. At least according to these surveys.
Looks like.
Like where there's a perforated line on the old survey.
Yeah, I can't
On
even
the
make
top
out.
side, it looks
Yeah, I
like,
can't even make out what it says.
but I don't think the building
I think it
is
says
there.
garage, GAR.
You
Not sure.
blow it up on there, right? That's the one, isn't it? Or no?
Yeah, you
let's
just
see.
can't read it. You know.
You know,
The old one?
looks like.
So there's a concrete pad in the back, which seems to be consistent. I just don't know what that other thing says. It says,
Something in the middle.
I have a tendency to agree with you, Bart, that looks like concrete area, concrete, and concrete.
Right.
And
Because it's
now
saying
it's-
the same thing.
I mean, with that dashed line, I would think it
You look on the new survey.
trying to make it look as though it's enclosed.
it
It
looks
might
like,
have been a porch, it might have been some, but it was definitely made part of the house, and then the rear, there's an addition, and then a deck. That was done since the 90s.
yeah.
And we don't know who did it, but it was done.
Right,
is it a garage?
That area,
Yeah,
that is a garage.
now.
currently.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Which,
what
Yeah,
I mean, the
currently.
argument could be made that the concrete slab was a substantial part of the principal structure in the beginning, you know what I mean?
Yes, man, I don't know.
So, I don't know.
Maybe that's just
Regardless,
how
it
he
was done
designated a
in the
garage.
90s, which I think is the key point.
Yeah, and does the building occupied now?
No, not
It's
at this
not-
time.
not like-
I mean, it's like habitable though.
It's habitable.
It's relatively nice, yeah.
So the building permit for this that was applied for was for roof, skylights, shed with electric, wood stove, and then added to it, I guess after the CO search, was 2 additions, a rear deck with stairs, propane for the kitchen stove. And that's, so there were 2 additions that were found that we didn't know about. So legalizing this, you're the first step, and then the gentleman will work with Susan and the building department for the other items.
Gotcha, oh, yeah.
So the building permit, Barb?
This-
When was that established?
This
Did you say
came
that?
in March.
It was I believe it was as a result of,
The CO search.
yeah, well, I mean, I believe he was selling the house, and then I believe they did a municipal search, and then something came up, and then the initial thing that came up was like, I think the building inspector went and then saw that like
The
the
other
stove
thing.
was new and stuff, and
Right.
she had several items. And then they did a follow-on search, which I guess the municipality didn't have information on several of the additions, which then warranted that, and then that warranted looking at if the additions are in the right place, which they're clearly not. So,
Right.
but, yeah, so,
So it's obvious that there were add-ons, right?
Yeah.
Add-ons
Yeah.
and add-ons and add-ons to the initial property. They are quite old. So, well, I don't know if you guys have any more questions. I'm going to schedule a site visit. All right, so what we normally do is schedule a site visit the Saturday before the following meeting.
absolutely.
And we'll do that. I'm not sure what date that would be. Vee always helps me out with that. So we'll,
The 23rd July.
all right, so we're going to schedule a site visit to the house on the 23rd of July. We'll be there about 9 o'clock.
Okay, great.
Is there anything or any way somebody could mark the property lines that are in question? Is there anything demarking the property lines, a fence, a stone wall? Actually, if this was recently surveyed, maybe there's stakes.
I mean, they might have put, I particularly didn't coordinate the survey.
Right.
I'm not particularly aware if they staked the corners.
Right.
There's a small probability that they do, as that's sometimes a standard surveyor requirement in action, but I couldn't
Well-
suggest that particularly.
Well, we have, I mean, it would be nice if that was present, but we have a certified survey, so
Yeah,
I mean, we could obviously see what's going on here since everything's existing.
Yeah, I would say that there is a fence, when you're looking at the property, there's a fence on the left side,
Okay.
which really, I would say is very close to the actual survey.
the fence
Yeah,
might be on.
there's a note on the survey that shows the fence. So we have a pretty good idea, some overhead wires too, very close to the property line.
Hey, did you have a bigger copy of the old survey or higher resolution?
Of the old survey?
Yeah.
No, actually, I got it in, can I
Okay.
I got it in 8.5 by 11, and I just taped it together. This is what I got from the property owner. I don't know if the municipality has a bigger one.
That's the old one.
It'd just be great to actually know what that says.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just, that's the document that I got, it's kind of, it's not in the best.
We'll check the assessor's records and the building grid file, just to see if we can come up with something.
All right, so we're going to schedule a site visit for 7/23 at about 9 o'clock. We'll be there, we'll take a look. If you're there, I don't think, really, if everything's existing, it's not necessary that anybody was there, I don't think. And we can see what's going on. We'll schedule then a public hearing for the following Tuesday, which would be
26th July.
the 26th of July will be the public hearing for this, okay? So we'll do public hearing on 26th and a site visit on the 23rd, okay?
Great.
Okay, so then what we'll do then, you'll need to take, B has a sign that needs to be posted on the property. Okay, so that needs to go on the property. B, I forgot exactly at what point in time you need to put that.
On like the front door, or like in the front of the property?
On the front property, yeah, from the
Front
property.
of the property?
For anybody who's driving past can see it, right?
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. So we'll be there Saturday, or that Saturday, and then we'll see you on the 26th.
All right, thank you for listening
Sure.
to the story.
Thanks. You got it. Thanks for the info. All right. Next item on the agenda tonight is appeal number 227759, area variance, Brian and Angela Lors, seeking an area variance, section 24037 of district regulations in an R20/40 zoning district, where 45 feet to the rear property line is required. The applicant can provide 8 feet for the installation of an above-ground 12 by 24 oval pool, thus requesting a variance of 37 feet. The property is located at 6 Park Hill Drive and is identified as tax grid number 635601166971 in the town of Wappinger. Anybody here tonight representing this application? You step to the microphone, just give your name and address, please.
Good evening, all. Brian Lors, 6 Park Hill Drive.
Just for the benefit of the board and anybody else who might be listening in, just a quick, summary of what you need and why you need it.
Okay, yeah, so I'm looking to put in a above-the-ground pool in the backyard. The property line for the property is minimal at best in my backyard. It's an odd shape, and there's just not much room. I'd like to put the pool behind the house for privacy. I do have a little bit more room to the right of the house, kind of right behind the driveway. But that's going to require a lot more excavation and probably a retaining wall, if there isn't.
Probably another variance.
Probably another variance. And there's also a huge boulder back there, which I don't even think, I don't know how big it is. I just know it's
You don't
close
want
to-
to know how big it is.
I've reached out to the neighbor behind me to see if I can buy some of the property that's back there, because it's just wooded area. I haven't gotten much of a response from her. So I'm just out here looking for a variance to get a pool. I know it's, excuse me, it's a fairly large variance, but I don't think it's not gonna affect the neighborhood. It's, we're not affecting any of the tree line or anything like that, or any neighbor's properties.
See, I see that the property is an odd shape, but it's kind of a trapezoidal area, piece of property. Look, you have municipal sewer and water in the front, looks like, right? Your town water
I have
sewer
municipal water and septic.
and septic.
So just for the record, he's in an R20/40 zone. So if he was in R20, he'd need 40 to the back. If he was in R40, he'd need 50. But the way the code's written to kind of give them to alleviate the R40, if you have municipal water or municipal sewer, we kind of have this unknown R30, and we add 5 feet to the R20 and take 5 feet off. So that's why he only needs 45 feet. It's an odd number, but that's what happens in these split zones. He gets a little credit for having the water, but then he's hurt because he has septic. So it kind of, we balance it out. Where is your septic? Do you know where the fields
It's
are?
in the front.
Okay.
So, Barbara, the numbers that are on it here reflect that math.
Right, so what happens is, so when we measured from the deck to the rear on that side, he had 25 feet. The pool is 12 feet wide. He's putting it 5 feet from the deck, which is code unless he was going to attach it, and then he needs different railings.
Right, right.
That only leaves him, unfortunately, right behind his house, only 8 feet.
To the rear. Yeah. Got it.
And you might have mentioned this, sorry, Pete. I'm sorry, Dave, you want to go say something? Just behind the house, it's kind of, I guess trapezoidal is the word, where you got that big corner, if you're looking at the survey.
Yep.
And did you say that was a big boulder or
Yeah,
woods?
so on the right side of the house, it kind of goes up a hill a bit. It's a fairly steep incline. Look, I mean, it's not the worst, but I question myself mowing it all the time. Yeah, I do have a little more room back there, but again, It's gonna require a lot more excavation. I lose whatever privacy that I would get from the house. And I would probably need a retaining wall, and I also don't know about that boulder back there, the size or.
Or
Thank
if you have any other rock in there as well. I mean, that's, when you're excavating to, well, we'll know, when we go, we're gonna do a site visit, obviously. We'll see the topography when we get there, you know, to see exactly what you're going on. Looks like it goes up pretty good. If the grade line's right.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. But if you guys have any other questions, we'll schedule a site visit. Okay. All right, so we're gonna schedule a site visit again for that Saturday, Saturday the 23rd. We'll probably be to your place 9:20, 9:30, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
If you're there, great. Again, if there's any way to demarc that rear property line,
Yeah,
that'd be
absolutely.
great. That'd be great for us to see.
I know where all the points are, so
Okay.
I'll just throw a string back there and
Perfect.
mark it off for you.
That's great, it's very helpful for us. All right, so we'll do that, we'll do the site visit on the 23rd, about 9:20 or so. We'll schedule a public hearing, then also be for the 26th,
Perfect.
okay? And you'll have a little sign for you too. We'll put that out in front, so everybody can see it. We'll let you know when you have to put that out there.
All right.
And I think that's good.
Thank you very
Okay,
much. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. We'll see you on that Saturday.
Thank you.
All right. There's no further business before this board this evening. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.